7-year-old Olivia Gant suffered 5 years of medical at the hands of her mother, which ultimately resulted in her death. Olivia Gant was born on June 21, 2010, and lived in Texas with her parents and 2 older sisters. Olivia's mother, Kelly Turner Gant, left her husband and moved herself and her children to Colorado 2 years later. It was in 2012 that Kelly started bringing Olivia to the hospital, claiming that she was suffering from chronic constipation. With a firm diagnosis, Olivia was treated by having the hardened stool removed from her colon and was sent home having responded well to the treatment. This visit to the hospital was the first of over 1,000 that took place over the next 5 years. Kelly brought Olivia back to the hospital, claiming that the treatment for her constipation hadn't worked. She told doctors that Olivia was unable to eat and digest food properly. Her frequent visits to the Colorado Children's Hospital over the years meant that Olivia underwent several surgeries to help her condition. One of Olivia's most serious surgeries was the installation of an ileostomy bag. Her small intestine was diverted to bypass her large intestine, allowing the waste to go through a hole in her stomach and into a bag. Despite this, Kelly claimed that Olivia was still struggling to digest food. This led to the installation of 3 different feeding tubes within the span of just 1 year. Eventually, Olivia was fed nutrients directly into her veins to ensure that she was remaining healthy. She was also heavily sedated with narcotics for years on end. In 2015, Olivia was taken to Boston Children's Hospital for a second opinion on her condition. Shockingly, the professionals at the hospital claimed that Olivia was a healthy child and didn't require any of her feeding aids, along with suggesting that her previous surgeries were unnecessary. They recommended that Olivia's ileostomy bag should be removed and that she should no longer be given narcotics. Despite the reports, the Colorado's Children's Hospital continued with Olivia's treatments. Kelly also managed to convince medical professionals that Olivia should be put onto Keppra, a medication that treats seizures. The doctors, again, agreed to prescribe the medication to Olivia based solely on Kelly's word, despite never having witnessed Olivia have a single seizure whilst in their care. Meanwhile, the years of unnecessary treatments started to take a toll on Olivia's health. Most of the time, she was bedbound, and when she wasn't, she needed a wheelchair to get around. Kelly used her daughter's alleged illnesses to garner sympathy on social media. She frequently posted pictures of Olivia and shared her story online, and also took advantage of many charitable organisations, scamming $500,000 to $1 million in money and gifts over the years. In March 2017, Kelly was caught by doctors trying to remove Olivia's ileostomy bag. The hospital staff were told that Kelly must be supervised at all times when she was in the room with Olivia, but this raised no suspicions of the medical abuse that was playing out in front of them. Just weeks after doctors had caught her trying to remove the ileostomy bag, Kelly attempted to get doctors to sign a do not resuscitate order. When the doctors refused, believing that Olivia still had a quality of life, Kelly searched until she could find a doctor who was willing to sign the order. These doctors eventually took over Olivia's care, and under Kelly's orders, the DNR was signed. Olivia was slowly weaned off the sedatives, which immediately made her appear healthier. She was more interactive, seemed happy, and was getting back to the child that she once was. Despite this, Kelly pushed to have Olivia's tubes removed. Doctors and the hospital ethics team came to the conclusion that based on her medical history, her diagnosis and her symptoms, the decision to remove Olivia's tubes was the correct one. Once the DNR was signed, Olivia's feeding tubes were removed and she was discharged under hospice care, awaiting her death. 7-year-old Olivia had no idea that she was going to die. She constructed a bucket list, which Kelly posted all over social media, hoping to fulfill all of her life's dreams. But she didn't know the true extent of what was going to happen to her from that point onwards. She was ecstatic to be out of hospital and free of all of the tubes. From the beginning, Olivia remained happy and in good spirits, but it wasn't long until her condition deteriorated as she began to starve. Olivia was kept on medication, but was not given anything to eat. The only thing that she was given was popsicle juice, which eventually had to be brushed over her lips for her. It was 2 days before her death that Olivia's granddad visited her. He claimed that she was lucid and that she had told him that she was hungry. Her grandfather was completely heartbroken, but he trusted that the medical professionals and Kelly had made the right decision for Olivia. He now claims that it haunts him every night after learning that Olivia was never terminally ill at all. On August 20th, 2017, Olivia passed away at just 7 years old. Her mother at first claimed that she had died of intestinal failure due to the complications of her illness. In total, Olivia underwent 25 unnecessary surgeries in the 5 years leading up to her death. There was no initial investigation into Olivia's death, but it was a year later, in 2018, that Kelly would eventually slip up. Kelly brought Olivia's older sister to the hospital, claiming that she was suffering from bone pain. According to Kelly, her daughter had previously been under the care of another hospital after being diagnosed with cancer, and she was concerned that the bone pain was a sign that the cancer had returned. The doctor immediately felt that something didn't add up with Kelly's story. He made a call to the previous hospital and learned that Kelly's claims were not true. He then proceeded to call social services about his concerns, which saw her daughters taken out of her care. This sparked a year-long investigation into Kelly and the death of Olivia, and in 2019, she was finally arrested. Kelly was facing charges of first-degree murder, theft, charitable fraud, forgery, and attempting to influence a public servant. A few weeks before her trial, Kelly accepted a plea deal and pleaded guilty to a felony charge of child abuse that negligently caused her daughter's death. She also pleaded guilty to the charges of fraud and theft. In 2022, Kelly was sentenced to 16 years in prison. She protests her innocence to this day, but claimed that she pleaded guilty to prevent a painful and lengthy trial for Olivia's family. She lost custody of her two other daughters, who are now reportedly healthy and safe. Olivia's family sued the Colorado Children's Hospital for $25 million after they had failed to fulfill their duty of care for 5 years, whilst Olivia was still alive.